Welcome to Thoughts and Theories. If you have ever sat alone at night and wondered, what if everything I believe is wrong? You already think like René Descartes. Descartes was not just a philosopher. He was a professional doubter. He questioned everything, his senses, his memories, even his own existence. And from that radical doubt he built one of the most influential systems of thought in human history. But who was this man who doubted everything? And why does his way of thinking still shape how we see truth, science, and even ourselves today? Let's rewind to the early 1600s. Europe was going through chaos. The Church still held massive authority over knowledge, the Inquisition was active, and science was only beginning to challenge religious explanations of the world. Galileo was being condemned for saying the Earth moved around the sun. Superstition and dogma were everywhere. In that world, saying "I doubt" was a dangerous act. Descartes was born in 1596 in France, and from the beginning he was obsessed with certainty. He saw how human opinions constantly changed. One generation would believe something with complete faith, the next would call it nonsense. Descartes wanted something that could not be doubted, something that would remain true no matter what. He began his search by doubting everything he possibly could. He said, "Let's throw out every belief that could be false. Our senses? They deceive us all the time. A stick in water looks bent, but it isn't. A mirage looks like water in the desert, but it's just heat. Our senses lie. Dreams? They feel real while we're in them. How do I know I'm not dreaming right now? Maybe everything around me, the desk, the trees, the people, is an illusion. Even mathematics, Descartes said, could be doubted. What if there's an evil genius, a superintelligent deceiver, who makes me believe that 2 + 2 = 4, when in reality it doesn't?" This thought experiment, which sounds crazy at first, was his way of stripping away every possible falsehood to find one thing that absolutely could not be doubted. And then, in the middle of all that doubt, he found something. He realized that even if he doubts everything, even if he is deceived about everything, there is one thing he cannot deny: the fact that he is thinking, and if he is thinking, he must exist. I think, therefore I am. Or, in his original Latin, cogito, ergo sum. It's such a simple sentence, yet it changed philosophy forever. Think about it. You can doubt that the world is real. You can doubt your senses, your memories, your emotions, but you cannot doubt the fact that you're doubting. The very act of doubting proves that something, some conscious mind, is doing the doubting. Descartes made the self the foundation of knowledge. For him, the mind was more certain than the external world. The physical world might be an illusion, but the inner world of thought was undeniable. This was the birth of modern philosophy. It's also the foundation of the scientific method. Because before you can know the truth, you must first learn to question your assumptions. Descartes didn't just doubt for the sake of destruction. He doubted to rebuild. He wanted knowledge to be like a building resting on an unshakable foundation. Once he found something that couldn't eat to be doubted, the existence of the thinking self, he used that as his starting point to rebuild knowledge step by step. In today's world, his approach feels strangely familiar. When you hear someone say, "I don't trust anything unless there's evidence," that's basically Cartesian thinking. Doubt first, verify later. Descartes also believed that mathematics was the purest form of truth. He thought the universe must be understandable through reason and numbers. This belief inspired generations of scientists to seek mathematical laws behind physical reality. Newton, Leibniz, and later Einstein all inherited that same trust in reason. But Descartes' ideas weren't perfect. His biggest problem was the gap he created between the mind and the body. He believed that the mind, the thinking thing, was completely separate from the physical body. The body was made of matter, obeying physical laws, while the mind was something immaterial, like a soul. This is known as Cartesian dualism. It made sense at the time because he couldn't imagine how something physical like the brain could produce consciousness. But today, neuroscientists would say that consciousness emerges from the brain itself. Still, his division of mind and body shaped centuries of thought. Psychology, medicine, and even religious debates about the soul all came from trying to bridge that divide. Now, if you think about it, Descartes' radical doubt mirrors the kind of skepticism we often see today. Many people now doubt religion, doubt the news, doubt politics, doubt everything they hear online. But Descartes didn't want to live in permanent doubt. He wanted to find a foundation to build back up. His method is useful even outside philosophy. Imagine you're facing a personal crisis. You don't know what to believe about someone, or something you thought was certain falls apart. The Cartesian move would be to strip everything away and ask, what do I know for sure? What is undeniable right now? Maybe it's that you're feeling pain, or that you're thinking about it. From there, you can rebuild your sense of truth. Descartes' method teaches us that doubt isn't the enemy of truth. It is the beginning of it. But not everyone agreed with him. Later, philosophers like David Hume argued that Descartes went too far in trusting reason alone. Hume said human reason is limited. We can never be certain about cause and effect, only observe habits and patterns. And then Kant tried to build a middle ground, saying that the mind shapes how we experience reality. In a way, Descartes started a chain reaction. His doubt opened the door to modern science, but it also opened deep questions about what we can ever truly know. Even in technology today, Descartes' ghost lingers. Think of virtual reality or simulation theory, the idea that maybe we were all living in a simulation created by some advanced intelligence. That's basically Descartes' evil genius thought experiment updated for the digital age. When Elon Musk says it's more likely we're in a simulation than not, he's just restating Descartes with a Silicon Valley twist. Descartes might have laughed, or maybe nodded in agreement. He believed that the path to truth begins with the courage to doubt everything. Most people are afraid to question their deepest beliefs because it feels like losing ground. But Descartes showed that by questioning everything, you don't lose reality. You rediscover it more clearly. He spent years writing alone, away from the noise of society, trying to rebuild knowledge from the ground up. He once said, "The greatest minds are capable of the greatest vices as well as the greatest virtues." He knew how dangerous thinking could be, but he also knew that it was the only way to be free. His own life was full of contradictions. Though he questioned the Church's doctrines, he never fully abandoned belief in God. He thought that God guaranteed the truth of our clear and distinct ideas. To many atheists today, that might sound like a weak link in his system. But even there, you can see the struggle of a mind caught between two worlds: the religious order he was born into, and the rational world he was helping to create. Descartes died in Sweden after being invited by Queen Christina to teach her philosophy. Ironically, the man who valued reason so much died of pneumonia because he couldn't handle the cold morning air of Northern Europe. But his ideas never died. Every time you use logic to test an argument, every time you say, "I need to think for myself," you're echoing Descartes. So what can we take from him today? Maybe this: doubt is not a weakness. It's strength in disguise. In a world full of misinformation, blind faith, and noise, being willing to pause and ask, "How do I know this?" is the most powerful act of rebellion. Descartes' legacy isn't about a few Latin phrases or dusty philosophy books. It is about reclaiming your ability to think clearly in a world that tries to think for you. He showed us that even if everything around you seems uncertain, even if the world feels like an illusion, the fact that you can question it means you're still real, still conscious, still here. You exist. You think. And that's enough to begin again. So next time you find yourself doubting, remember Descartes. Remember that doubt is not the end of truth. It's where truth begins.